It looks like the SeeSii 2-in-1 cordless pole saw and mini chainsaw arrived just in time since we just got brushed by a hurricane. Welcome to the Hippie Geeks. Let's see how well this works in helping us to clean up the property. The first thing we need to do is get this thing out of its box, and that is going to be easier than usual as this box was inside of the studio when the hurricane removed the roof from the building, so it got pretty wet. Once the box is opened up, you can see the foam packing that they used to keep it safe in shipping. Everything appears to have arrived in one piece, so while it feels like it could have been a little more securely packaged, there is absolutely no damage, and shipping companies really like to beat packages up here on the island. This package comes with quite a few different components, from the pole saw portion to the mini chainsaw itself, to a pair of batteries, and finally a whole pile of accessories. As per usual, I am not going to look at the owner's manual unless there is something that I cannot figure out, but it does come with one, so hopefully it has answers if I need them. Next up are three of the most important extras: a screwdriver which will allow you to adjust the chain tension, and replacement 6-inch chain, just in case you ruin the one that comes installed on the saw, and then the oil bottle. You will need to provide your own bar oil to put in here and use on the chain, and we will look at how you put the bar oil onto the chain a bit later in the video. After that, we have the shoulder strap that this thing comes with, and this can be attached to a hook point that is on the pole saw portion that we saw earlier. This also comes with a simple pair of gloves that you can use, and while they are too small for my hands, they do fit on my teenage son and my wife. These are not super heavy duty, but they do offer some protection. Finally are the two batteries that this combo comes with, along with the wall charger that will allow you to recharge them once they are depleted. You can see right here how the wall plug actually connects into the batteries, and I like that this will be protected when you are using the unit and will keep any debris from getting in there. The last thing to look at is the pole saw extension, which makes this little chainsaw even more versatile, and we will be looking at this more later in the video. Now that we have looked at everything that this comes with, let's get the battery hooked into the chainsaw and see how it works. The battery just slides in from the front and will click in place once you have it pushed all the way in. There is a safety button on the side of the grip, and you need to push that in before you can pull the trigger and start the blade moving. I do like that this unit has both a finger guard on the front of the grip and a blade guard on the back of the bar. Both are very nice safety features. Once you push the button and the trigger, the blade will start moving, and let's listen and see how loud of a noise it is going to make. You can also see the bar sheath that this comes with as well, and you will want to use this when storing the saw to keep the chain and bar safe. The final thing we are going to take a look at is the pole saw extension, and this unit is surprisingly adjustable. First up are the spring-loaded extensions, and there are two of them that you can use to lengthen the reach of the pole saw. At its full extension, this is going to give you a maximum of a 15.5-foot reach, which is pretty great and should let you get pretty far up into a tree. The next thing to look at is how adjustable the head of the pole saw is, and it allows you to tilt the head all of the way from one side to the other, and it will click in place in several positions. This is going to allow you to set the saw up perfectly, even if you need to get into some pretty tight areas to cut off a troublesome branch. Now, before using the saw, the first thing that needs to happen is oiling the blade. You can see here that I have already put some bar oil into the bottle that it comes with, and then I cut off the tip so that the oil will actually come out of it. All you have to do is just put oil in between the bar and the chain on one side, then flip the saw over and do the same thing on the other side. Run the chainsaw to move the oil around the bar, and you should be good to go. You will want to add more oil to the bar on a pretty regular basis, as this is what keeps the bar and chain from overheating while you are using it. The more that you cut, the more often you will need to add oil to the chain. Once that is done, however, it is time to go cut some wood. The first thing that I need to cut is one of the snags that broke in the hurricane winds, and luckily it fell between two of the structures instead of hitting either of them. I had already cut the end of this one off while the hurricane was still happening, as it was catching the wind and swinging around pretty wildly. The saw went through the end of this snag really well, which is nice to see as snags like this can actually be really dense and hard to cut. After I got the front section cut off, I went around the back of the tree to cut off the back section, and what I imagined happening was that this side would just kind of drop down pretty gently, which is not exactly what happened. However, it caught itself on the paracord that we have running across this area, and yet again managed to not hit anything important as it bounced to the ground. Well, at least the chainsaw did what it was supposed to do, even if the snag did not. Next, I am going to do a couple more test cuts with some of the snags that we have cleaned up since the hurricane came through, just to get a feel for how well it is going to cut. It once again did a great job cutting through all of the branches that I threw at it, and I think that this saw is going to be very useful for all of the cleanup that we have ahead of us, considering just how many branches came down in the sustained winds that we saw during the hurricane. Now, after you have made a few cuts with the saw, you are probably going to notice that there is some slack in the chain, and this is completely normal. As the chain gets used and heats up, it is going to start to stretch a bit, and you are going to want to tighten it up a little bit, as a loose chain is a dangerous chain. What you need to do is to loosen the thumb screw that is on the left side of the saw, as this is what holds the bar in place. Then you want to flip the saw over and use a Phillips head screwdriver to turn the screw here by the bar until the chain tightens up a little bit. You don't want it to be super tight, but you don't want to be able to pull the chain down like I was. Once you have it tightened up where you want it, go ahead and tighten up that thumb screw that holds the bar in place, and then you are ready to get cutting once again. It is time to give the pole saw a try, and this is pretty easy to do. You just need to remove the battery from the chainsaw and then slide the unit onto the top of the pole saw, and it will just click into place. You also want to make sure to twist this little piece up to secure the saw at the end, as this will make sure that it cannot get accidentally unhooked by a branch once it is way up above your head. Then you just put the battery into the other end of the pole saw, and you are ready to go. I am going to go ahead and use it to cut out a few dead branches from one of the trees near our solar panels, but I also want to wrap this video up and talk about my feelings on the SeeSii 2-in-1 cordless pole saw and mini chainsaw. While I am super grateful that they sent this unit over for us to take a look at, I had already been looking at these units as I really thought one of these handheld chainsaws would be really useful around here, and it absolutely has been. The last thing that we need to talk about is price, and currently on Amazon they have this unit listed for $140 after applying the $20 coupon that they have going right now. On top of that, they have given us a 10% off coupon code for you folks to use, which is going to bring the total price down to $125, which is absolutely incredible. We will have to come back in a couple of months to check in with how well this unit is holding up, but so far it has already been an incredible help around here, and I look forward to using it to finish up the cleanup that we have to do. A big thank you to SeeSii for sending us this unit to check out, and if you want to try it out for yourself, make sure to click on our link to it in the video description down below and use our discount code to get an additional 10% off of the final price.